The following audio may contain the personal testimonials of some Optavia coaches or clients of Optavia. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Optavia team.
Welcome everybody to your Habits of Health call. We'll get started here in a few minutes. My name is Susan LaBelle, and we have a really fun topic for you guys tonight. One of my favorites. One of the reasons I'm here is the community. So we welcome you to our Optavia community tonight. And yeah, go ahead and drop in the chat. There's a fun little chat window. We like to be in community and hang out with each other. Go ahead and share where you're from, where you're tuning in from. It's fun to see people from all across the country. So we'll get started here shortly, and already seeing the chat starting to blow up, so very exciting. All right, so tonight we get to speak on community and how our vibe attracts our tribe. I was so excited when they asked me to speak on this. And first, I was thinking, gosh, what do I share on community that isn't overused or cliche, something that would be new and would be valuable to you on your journey. What hasn't kind of been said before, right? And so I was excited about what I found through just some research and kind of exploring, and also just exploring my own journey, and excited to share with you guys tonight. My name is Susan LaBelle. I am a certified health coach. I have been with Optavia now for over 7 years. And one of my favorite parts about Optavia has been the community and the relationships and the friendships that I've had a chance to just meet and engage in over the years. So where I want to start tonight is share about the father of social psychology. His name is Norman Triplett, and this was over 100 years ago. He started to kind of study people, and he started with looking at people in groups and how people in groups many times perform better than they do on their own. And where he kind of started his hypothesis was looking at groups of cyclists, and how by seeing with them performing in a group, they many times do more than they'd ever do on their own when they're cycling on their own. And so he started to go, I wonder what that looks like in other areas. So he took a group of children and he put them in a room together, working on, the same puzzle, but side by side. And then he isolated other children in rooms to work on their own. And what he found is that the children that were working alongside others did more, were able to do harder puzzles, push themselves further when they were around those peers working towards that same goal, versus the ones that were in isolation and working on their own. They didn't do it as fast. They didn't do it. They didn't even push themselves as far. So what his kind of social experiment really showed is that we tend to be lifted to a higher potential when we are surrounded by people with a common goal and, a common direction. And this is kind of the premise of where even video games were stemmed out of. They realized, gosh, if we could socially put people together, and they have now created games where you get to play kind of a fake opponent, right? Because they know what you'll do is you're going to play longer, you're going to work harder, you're actually going to achieve a higher potential playing against someone than just playing alone. And that has kind of continued throughout the ages for us to tap into this potential, give us a turbo boost, if you will. And there's been races and things designed, like, I don't know about you, but I'm showing a picture here of the Spartan race of people running through fire. Like, I don't know how many of you want to do that on your own, but doing it in a group, all of a sudden it sounds fun, right? Like, we will do things that we never thought were even possible. Jumping out of a plane, many times people go in groups. It's usually that peer kind of camaraderie of like, not just doing it on our own, but hey, this is what we're going to go do together. And all of a sudden we find ourselves being pushed to do things we never thought were even possible for our lives. So I think that's what's really interesting and fun about being in community. And I would love for you guys to, before I get into kind of the why of community and all of that, is just to drop in the chat, why does community matter to you? And I'm going to kind of circle back to kind of some of your answers on that, but why is it important to you? Because I really had to ask myself, why was it important to me? Like, what did community matter to me? And it's maybe going to look different. We find different value in it, but why does it matter to you? Cool. I see the chat blowing up. I love it. And really as I've kind of just been exploring the whole topic, it's been fun to really realize that who we spend our time with, right? It determines how we spend our time. It determines how we live our life. It shapes us. And I started to explore the communities that I was involved in growing up that made me the person that I am today. So here are some Throwback Thursday, even though it's Wednesday, Throwback Wednesday pictures of Susan. If you can find me, bonus points if you can find me in these pictures. It's pretty hilarious. You have to remember, this is the 90s, people, so forgive the hair here. But soccer was a big part of my life. Soccer for me, what it taught me was it showed me about teamwork. It showed me about dedication. It actually started my love and passion for health and taking care of my body, about accountability and working with other people and communicating effectively. And there was a lot of things I learned through sports. Maybe you had that experience in those communities growing up. And then you fast forward into college, and I joined a sorority. But, you see the movies of sororities just being all parties. And, we did some of that too. But I really learned, we did service projects. There was a lot of leadership opportunities. And I learned about, sisterhood. I learned about living with other people and respecting myself and respecting other people's property and my property. I learned, how to do things for myself and on my own. And I was given opportunities to serve and be part of something bigger. And what's really cool and why these two communities were a big impact on me, and how I know that is I'm still involved in them, 20 years later. I coach my kids soccer because I want to provide that same opportunity for the younger generation. And I'm still involved in the alumni group of my sorority because I still desire to be around like-minded women with the same sort of hopes and dreams in their life. And I love meeting those women all across the country here in my city of Portland. So what communities have really shaped you? Kind of asking yourself, like, where were those? Feel free to drop it in the chat. I know you guys love to share and get to know each other here, right? What really shaped you in your life that made you the person that you are today? So I found myself in a really interesting space out of college. For the first time in my life, I was by myself. I moved to the big city of San Francisco. I lived in the marina, and what was really interesting is it was a big city and there were lots of people around, but I was really alone. So it's not always about the number of people, it's how we're connecting with people. And what I found is that a lot of my communities disappeared. Much of it was geography, and just where I was. But I found myself where exercise had always been a really important part of my life. In fact, every day in college, I pretty much I put my running shoes on. I ran with different people. It was a way I loved to spend time with many of my friends in college. And I got to the city, and when I first moved there, it was really fun. I used to run out to the Golden Gate Bridge every morning and touch the bridge, physically touch the bridge and run back. And I think back, that sounds really glamorous, but after, a few months of that, it loses its excitement and lure. And I realized I'd missed a day and nobody wondered where I was. And pretty soon I started just getting out to kind of the beach part and just seeing the bridge and kind of going, it's far enough. I wasn't pushing myself. Sometimes I'd started doing this walk jog sort of thing. Nobody was missing me there. There was no one to hold me accountable. And pretty soon that snooze button started to kind of look pretty fine, and started hitting that a little bit more. And that was kind of where my downturn was and where my health really started to change. I'd isolated myself without wanting to isolate myself. And this is essentially what my days looked like. I was out, I was alone, and I knew I wanted something different, but I wasn't connected. I wasn't plugged in. And so that whole like who we're spending time with and how our life was looking, I saw myself take a totally different trajectory. So I want to talk on community. The definition of it is a feeling of fellowship with others, right? That results in that sharing of common attitudes, interests, and goals. And community comes from a passive noun, which means common or commonness. And as I read that passive noun, I thought, I don't want my communities to be passive, right? I want my community to be active. I actually would love for my community to be more of a verb, right? Not just one that of something I have in common with someone, but I want to strive to be in a community where I commune, like where it's actually active. So I don't know if that speaks to you, but I feel as to commune is to communicate, is to become more intimate, to actually be vulnerable in a situation. And I think that that's really important. So I don't want to get confused that just community is having a common interest. It actually takes engagement and activity for it to be an active community for you. And being that I shared with you that community can unlock human potential, right? Why not like go all out after this and get involved in communities of areas that you personally want to grow in, to tap into something you didn't even know was possible. So why does all this matter, right? Before I actually go into that, I want to share a study that one of my fellow health coaches, David Bush, shared with me about done at BYU on loneliness and how social loneliness and social isolation is a bigger health threat than obesity. That was the tagline. And I'm like, what? Really? But as I read through it, it started to make so much sense that what they found was that people with a greater social connection cuts a person's risk of early death by 50%. 50%, you guys. And we know the risk of obesity and poor, health. But what about the risk of social isolation and loneliness? And I never really thought of it. But when you think in terms of babies that aren't given the love and support, they actually have a term for it. It's called failure to thrive. And they die. Right? I mean, if you've heard of that. Or what about the way that we punish our inmates? We do something called solitary confinement because we know how hard it is on the human body. We are not designed to live in isolation. And so with that trend in loneliness and it becoming an actual epidemic in our country where we're connected, right? Because we're social with the social media, but we aren't connecting. They're really encouraging doctors to start to screen for social engagement, asking people, what are you involved in? Where are you engaging? Especially for that high-risk group that's entering retirement and leaving, like I did, many of my communities, and knowing that there's going to be a little more isolation. Where are you plugging in? Because we don't want that failure to thrive for them. Pretty fascinating, right? So this all matters because healthy relationships is part of overall health. We're all here to create lifelong transformation. So surrounding ourselves with people that have like-minded goals and are positive and are moving forward in their life. Accountability is huge. I spoke about that was true in all the communities I've been in. It's accountability to myself, accountability to them. So if health is important to you, creating that accountability in your health as well is really big. And that the mental health aspect of it too. There's many studies to show that people that are socially engaged have, better mental health and mental clarity. It is also so cool to be supported. Don't you guys love the feeling of when you're in a community and everybody's cheering you on, kind of like how I feel tonight? A lot of people cheering me on. So thanks, guys. I know you got my back. I think that's so great and a fun thing to be a part of. But what's the key here too is the opportunity to support others. to give you that opportunity to turn around and tell somebody else, like, great job, I'm behind you, I'm here for you 100%. So it's also to turn around and be able to serve. Many of you love that aspect. It's not just to be supported, but it's the opportunity to serve others. That sense of belonging and purpose, right? We have this human need to feel part of something, right? And then we find that through common interests, people that have those common interests and goals that are moving forward in a like-minded fashion. So finding that sense of belonging is why community is so important. And then, you know, we learn from other people. Our perspective is only as far as we can see, but when we can see it through another lens, or we get an opportunity to meet someone that shines a new light, we can learn about ourselves. And this is how we grow as, you know, human beings, right? We're human beings, not human doing. So we are becoming and not just doing. That's really important distinction, and it's important in our growth to be learning about others and learning about ourselves. And we do that when we are in a community that is growing us. So how do we find that tribe, right? Like, how does all this happen? And my biggest encouragement to you is just to be yourself, okay? Because if we're pretending to be someone we're not, you're going to attract people, but guess what? You're going to attract people with nothing in common with you because it's not the real you. So it's so important to get in touch with what is important to you and who you really are. You know, if you're an artist, go join an art class. You're probably going to meet other artists there, right? Like, you're going to put yourself around people that have similar interests. If you are a female blogger, join a online female blogger group. I can kind of guarantee you're going to meet other female bloggers. You guys kind of get my gist here, right? So it's important that you make a list of the people, not just to be in community, but who do you want to commune with? Where do you want to be an active team member, an active member? What is important to you? Where do you want to learn? Where do you want to become? What is important to you? I know for myself, it's really just starts with what sounds fun. I like to have a little fun. I don't know if that's coming through or not, but that's important to me. Like, what sounds exciting? Like, you know, what does that really look like? I like to join groups with common interests. And, you know, locally, there's some great, I love the face-to-face, but I'm also a busy mom with kids. So I love the opportunity that we have these days to have online communities. And I will say, you only get out of a community what you're willing to put in. I am involved in online communities that I haven't engaged in. And so I haven't necessarily, no one knows if I'm there or not, right? You have to put yourself out there and be vulnerable and meet people. So some of my favorite ones that I'm in, that I'm engaged in, that are super fun, just to give you ideas. But again, find your own, like, find your peeps, like, be you, attract people that have common interests as you. I'm in a golden doodle community. So we have a new golden doodle puppy, and she's darling. And it's fun to be with other golden doodle lovers that are like, we just can take pictures of our puppies all day, and we all just think it's a great idea. But, you know, if you don't like golden doodles, that's not the group for you, right? I'm in a wonderful, like, Christian wives and moms group online that I love, that people are really supportive and engaging in. An Instapot community to share recipes, and, you know, if that's something that you're into. And then, of course, our client, like, Optavia support communities and our Optavia coach support communities have been huge and a big part of my journey. Some great, great people in there as well. But you only get out of what you're willing to put in. So be active, be engaging, be supportive of others, and you too will that'll be reciprocated to you. And just remember, in any community, no one person creates a community. It takes everybody. So the vibe of the community is the vibe of the tribe. So positive attracts positive. Like, be bringing that positive energy to attract more positive energy. It's going to attract more people to your community too, if people feel like it's a place that's uplifting and moving them forward. So this brings me to our Optavia community. It's been a huge impact in my life. It's something I was truly searching for. And when I found it, I remember feeling like, I'm home. Like, this is my tribe, right? Because I love health. I love people that are moving forward in their life, people that cheer each other on. I love the idea of creating lifelong transformation and being around people that want that for their life too. And again, I wanted to be brought to my highest potential. And community is one of our 4 pillars here at Optavia. And it's because we want to unlock your potential. We want to give you and surround you with people that also want optimal well-being. But my question to you is, how active and engaged are you? Kudos to you for being on the call, right? And listening into the call. This is part of your community. You have the calls. You probably have an online community, maybe with your coach and clients. And maybe you want to even explore the option of becoming a coach and being part of a larger supportive community and accountability group for you on your health journey. We have local events all across the country. Ask your coach about that if you want that face-to-face connection. And really what I would say too, and I'm going to be bringing on a really great speaker here in a second, or a friend of mine, about creating your own community and about what does it look like to create your own optimal health living community around you. And I will say, I get asked often, how, who has the most success? Like, how do I have the most success? Like, Susan, what's your one, what's your golden nugget? Like, what's the secret sauce, or however people put it. And my over and over again, I found the people that engage and go all into the community, they put themselves out there, they support others, they're the ones over and over that have the most success in this journey, because they are willing to be part of this. They're not failure to thrive over here. They're like thriving all in the community. And so that is so, so, so important. So I want to bring on Amber Newman, a good friend of mine, been a health coach for, I think, around 5 years. Amber, you'll have to share a piece of your story. But I love that. I just want her to share what her experience has been in the Optavia community and how she's really taken it to that next level to create her own optimal living community. So Amber, are you there?
Hi, Susan. I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, this was very informative, and I loved what you've shared so far. I'm honored to speak. So yes, 5 years ago, I started my health journey. I've been most of my life an exercise addict, so I had kind of the physical piece down, but I couldn't wrap my head around nutrition and what to do. A friend shared with me, and I started the program. And you guys, I right away wanted to make sure I was doing it right. So I was connecting with my health coach. I wanted to understand the servings, to make sure I was in fat burn, right? Like, I was, from kind of the get-go, wanted to make sure I was doing it right. I probably drove my coach crazy. Just so you know, if you're a client like that, you don't. We love it. We love that you want to make sure that you're doing it right. I plugged into the calls. I wanted to make sure I was doing it right, because this was a piece of my life I had struggled with, but I also had some loved ones on my heart that if I could find success with this health program, that I wanted to help them. And that was my parents. My family had struggled with obesity most of my life, and I wanted to help them, but I also wanted to help my children prevent that. And so I really was gleaming to learn as much as I could and really plugged into the community. And so I found myself feeling really good. I had energy I didn't have when my older kids were younger, and I started sharing it. I started telling my family and friends, oh my gosh, I'm finally getting the results at the gym. I'm getting my body back from my 4th son. Mom and Dad, I think you should try this. So you guys, as you're experiencing this health transformation and you're feeling good, I encourage you to share it with your family and friends. Think of who could use what somebody shared with you. That was super helpful to me. Also, because I knew that I wanted this for the long term, and the best way for me to do that was to surround myself with people who had health goals and were, conscious of that. So it wasn't going to do me any good to create this health transformation and then go back and hang out with people that wanted ice cream all day or fast food, right? I was setting myself up for failure. And so I wanted to instead try to bring my friends and family into my community and help them as well. And so, long story short, I started helping my family and friends. I went to an Optavia event, and I was blown away by the people. And I think my husband put it best when he explained at an event that these are the type of people that help you and inspire you to want to be better. And that was what I found, that they stretched me in ways I had never stretched. They helped me dream in a way that I never even thought that I could. And I wanted to bring that back to Montana. So any Montana people out there, I wanted to bring that to Montana to help my community and help others build that supportive community. And so we have a growing community here in Billings, Montana. Some events that we've done is we love to do hikes, we've done barbecues, we've done kind of the painting and wine. It was kind of a social outing events. We've done workout events where we've done like hot yoga together, boot camps. And you guys, you don't have to be a coach to do this stuff. Like, this will set you up for success if you continue to build the community of support around you. And like Susan talked about, we become like the 5 people we most hang around. So think of who you want those people to be and who you can invite in to that. Again, you know, that's kind of the things of what I've done. And I just wanted to encourage all of you to go out and do that, but also to really plug into the Optavia community. I would not have maintained my health 5 years and even increasing it to the next level if I didn't have all these people around me. So also, where can you build your own Optavia community, but also continue to plug into what we have? I don't know, Susan, if you have anything else that you want me to share. I wanted to thank you for letting me share. This was an awesome topic.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's been fun watching you kind of ask that question and being like, I want more of this. How do I build it here? And what's cool is every community starts with one person making the decision, right? And then inviting some people just to join, and then it evolves and it becomes. And so as your coworkers, like, be thinking too, if you want to surround yourself with a kind of that bulletproof optimal health community, if your coworkers and your family members, have them come along on this journey, whether you coach them or your health coach coaches them. As more people around you are making the fundamental decision to choose health in their life, it just gets easier for you to make that decision too, because the people around you are wanting those same things. So as we wrap up tonight, Amber, I'd love to know, just because I was having so much fun in the chat, like communities that people were involved in that shaped them. Is there anyone that jumps out at you that really shaped you feel like, to who you are today?
You know, there actually was. When I was a young mom with my older boys, I was able to be in a Bible study with some older women who had kids more my age, and they were very instrumental in helping me kind of adjust to motherhood. They kind of mentored me. They brought me in under their wings. And at that time, I was away from my mom, and so it was very, very helpful. That's one for sure of those women who were very influential at that time for me.
Cool. I love that. So be thinking about, what kind of community member are you? So the communities that you're in, right? Being engaging, and not just be in them, but who are you connecting with? Like, who are you impacting? Like those women, right? They may have just said a few things, but look at how it is transformed and the legacy it can leave for generations to come by being engaged. So what I want to leave everyone with, thank you, Amber, for sharing, by the way. It's so exciting and fun to see the people that are coming together there in Montana. So question tonight, where is your community? Like, who are your people? Who are you attracting by the actions and the places that you're putting? And not just the communities you're in, but if you're like me and you desire your community to be a verb and to be that active community, where are you communing? Where are you communing? Where are you connecting? And ask, are you a good community member? Am I pulling my weight, right? Like, you know, to be part of that. And then 2, look at your Optavia community. You raised your hand and said, I want optimal health in my life. And we know that unlocking your full potential is to fully engage with others on this journey alongside you. So how can you engage more? Is that supporting more people on the posts that are being made, or posting yourself, sharing your journey and inspiring? Is that connecting with your coach more? Maybe referring some of your friends that have been asking so you have that support? Maybe it's even exploring coaching and going deeper in the journey and creating that level of accountability and paying this gift forward. Maybe it's attending local events or, hosting health events around where you are. Those are just some things I want to leave you with tonight as you kind of are thinking about what community means to you. And as you're reflecting back on the communities that have impacted you as you're growing up, I don't want you to lose that as we move into our later years and move into a life of isolation and confinement and loneliness, because we can reverse this obesity epidemic as much as we can reverse this loneliness epidemic if we are willing to stay socially engaged and be active and be prepared. So with that, you all, thank you so much. Thank you, Amber. Thank you all for being part of my community and growing me and cheering me on tonight, especially. Just so grateful. And with that, you guys, we will thank you, and we'll see you guys next week.
The following audio may have contained the personal testimonials of some Optavia coaches or clients of Optavia. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Optavia team.